What's up, guys? On the recording, we're here ready to record the podcast, and let's just jump right into it. Let's talk about social justice and stuff. So, all right, welcome, guys. Welcome to the Liberated Millionaire Podcast. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm so excited to have you listening. And remember, if you're watching live on Facebook or soon to be Instagram, I'm not on there yet broadcasting live, but I soon will be. If you're watching live on one of these platforms, or even if you watch a recording of the podcast or something, leave a question on the live stream or on the YouTube recording, and I'll answer that for you in the next episode or the next time I see it. So if you want some feedback and you want to craft this podcast and make it exactly what you want to hear and what you want the resources for, just ask a question. But today, I'm going to continue talking about what we can learn from experts and apply it to everyday life. And I've already made a really wonderful video on the thing I'm talking about today, and I will be releasing it tonight, and it's actually already up on YouTube, so I guess I can link you to it. But the video I made talked about business owners and how I made this pitch to them that, oh my gosh, leveraging diversity and inclusion in your workplace is just the biggest moneymaker, the best thing you could be doing. And then I thought, well, why don't I also podcast about this and teach people, just bring to light. I'm moving away from the word teach because I don't think you can really teach anyone anything. I think they have to learn for themselves. But I want to put things in the light in case you would like to learn. And the thing I would like to put in the light is that there's this skill that only a few select people who are really socially gifted use. And it blows my mind because if you just used this skill in everyday life, you'd always get what you want. You'd have anything you want. You'd be extremely happy. You'd be extremely successful. Everyone around you would be happy. Everyone would love you. And your life would just be all like roses and rainbows and gravy. And I don't know, that was a really mixed metaphor. But your life really, really would be. And so here's what it is. It's just the ability to make people feel understood conquers all in life. You need to understand this. That all human conflict is rooted in a perception that we are not loved or that we are not enough. That's all human conflict. Every human problem comes from feeling like we're not enough, we're not loved, right? Something is unjust against us. And so the reason I'm talking about social movement leaders is that people who are leading social movements are often some of the people who finally understand that if you give someone purpose, if you give someone a reason to exist, if you give someone validation that their experience matters, then lift them up, then you can just create such massive change in the world. And so I want to put a little skin in the game and tell you how I am planning to use these skills, okay? Now, first of all, I've always been good at this. In corporate America, I've been really good at using my skills, using my ability to make people feel understood, to always have people love working with me. It all flows together. Everywhere I worked, even when I left one job for another job, everyone was distraught, but I was like, well, I just needed a better job. And even when I quit my day job and left a company that was frankly really great with a lot of great people, they were all really sad I was leaving. And the reason wasn't because I was the best computer programmer or the best whatever I was. It was just that I always made people feel understood. The worst feeling in the world is when you go into a conversation with someone and they just literally don't understand what you're saying, or they choose to ignore you. And frankly, rather than that being a corner case, that's what happens in 99% of human conversations. And it blows my mind. People honestly think that by criticizing someone, they're going to get a positive experience out of it. And I just sit there and I'm like, how could you think that? How could you think being critical or annoying to be around could create a positive experience? It can't. Okay? So you have to be encouraging and understanding. All right? And so what I did at work is I would always be really understanding. Even if I was let's say I was in charge of a project, and I had a couple of times where this happened, where even though I was young, I was in charge of a project, and I had a few people who were older and more experienced reporting to me. There'd be an older techie guy, and he'd say, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe so-and-so is letting this happen on this project. And I wouldn't be like, hey, listen, we can't worry about that. I'd be like, yeah, I know. That's tough, right? I see what you're saying. What you're saying is this and this and this. And the next person would talk, and they'd be like, well, I'm really concerned about this. And rather than saying, oh, it's no big deal, even if I thought it was no big deal, I would say, oh, I got it. You're concerned about this, and this happening. And they'd be like, yeah. And it's like when my ego went away and I just started saying that to people, it's like the magic words, and it's just wonderful. But you do have to back it up. You can't just be a doormat who just does whatever somebody else wants. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you always understand someone else's side. And then if you really want to, right, you can use the magic phrase, which is actually something I will be exposing in a few months when I make Mental Health 102. I'm not even really ready. I'm still working on Mental Health 101 and getting it out to people, but Mental Health 102 will be all about interacting with others and leveraging this skill. And it's a simple template, though, if you want to just grab it from me. I'll expose the good stuff in advance here for you. The simple template statement that solves any problem that will just lead you to a happy, fulfilled life is this statement. I care about you and I value your feedback. No, I will not change myself or my boundaries because I disagree. It's okay to disagree. No hard feelings. Said genuinely. That's my mantra. That's my statement, right? I am going to get what I want in life. You better bet I'm going to get what I want. But the way I get it is just by saying, hey, let's all work together. Let's do our best. And if we really have a conflict where things won't work out, then you just say, hey, it's okay to disagree. No big deal, right? But I understand you. I get you. Most people do the opposite. Most people fight at people, but then they go and feel guilty because they don't have a boundary, and they feel like, oh, should I change? I have to get their approval, blah, 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 blah. And to bring it all back to the social justice, right? It's like people who are really great movers of people who can get lots of people to do what they want, people who can inspire people, make people feel understood. And so it's okay to make people feel understood and still disagree with them. In fact, you'll be amazed at how often it happens that you totally disagree with somebody and you're not going to change, and they say something that you really hate, but if you just respond and you're like, oh, so you mean this and this and this, and oh, you mean that and that and that, and oh, you mean that and that and that. And then you just say, oh, well, I'm not going to change because I disagree, but it's okay to disagree. No hard feelings. Thanks so much for your feedback. People will be happy. People will be excited. But here's another thing. The people who are great movers of people understand that the average person isn't willing to admit. And that is that you cannot hold someone else to the same standard as yourself. You cannot expect them to do what you would do. All human conflict is rooted in the fear that if we make ourselves vulnerable, somebody else will not make themselves vulnerable and will take advantage of us, and then a bad outcome will happen for us and we'll feel bad, right? That's the root of all human conflict right there. I just solved it for you. And so the way you address that is not by forcing people to adhere to your standards. It's by saying, here are my standards, here's the way I live, right? I'm totally open to your feedback, but if you don't meet my standards, I'm not quite willing to engage in a further direction, And so you just set standards and stick with it. And then you just love on people anyway, but you don't expect them to meet your standards. I don't expect each and every one of you guys to go launch a podcast and podcast every day for the rest of your life the way I'm planning to. That'd be crazy, right? There'd be too many podcasts to listen to. And yet I can still think that's the right thing for me. And so what you got to do is, instead of playing all the mind games and then worrying, you got to play zero mind games, be totally upfront, and then just love on people. And great movers of people understand that they might be the leader in this scenario, but that by being kind and understanding, they can bring others along. That's what I always try to do. I choose to be above and beyond, right? It's why I'm videotaping my whole life right now. Every single podcast, every single parable I teach, every time I do therapy with myself, every game I play, well, I'm working on that. I'm getting a better computer to stream my games. And every workout I do are all going to be live streamed, and they're all going to be documented on YouTube, Living Life with Woody Rini. The reason for that is because I hold myself to an incredibly high standard, and I want to show people what it looks like. But I don't expect everybody else to live to that. Rather, I expect holding myself to a high standard, plus always making other people feel understood without changing my boundaries, is the ultimate solution to life. So you got to do two things, right? You got to hold yourself to a way higher standard. Anyone you know and respect as a leader holds themselves to a ridiculous standard because they enjoy it intrinsically. They want the results that come from it, that's all. And then anyone who's a good leader of people and inspires people always just makes people feel understood, right? And I promise, this is why I am so low on constructive criticism, is because constructive criticism doesn't really do anything but make you feel like you were able to mind control somebody else. And so that's why I always say my podcast, my lives, my everything, rather than trying to do something behind the scenes and cook it up and then throw it at you and be like, I am the moral authority, I am the life coach, I know everything, here's what you should do. Instead, what I'm doing now, as you can see, is I'm being totally transparent. I'm broadcasting all my fears and vulnerabilities. You should have seen me cry on camera yesterday. If you didn't see that, you should go back and look. I'm going to post it on YouTube. It's on my Facebook feed. But I bawled on camera. I was the most vulnerable I've ever been in my life, on camera, live, for anyone to see. And it was a wonderful experience. And so what I'm doing is kind of a reverse moral authority. And this is what a real servant mentality looks like. You look at a good leader. Servant mentality doesn't mean be meek. It doesn't mean don't go for what you want. It means you must rigorously expose yourself 100%, and you must always make others feel understood. And the only price you have to pay is letting go of your own ego. Because my ego can't claim moral authority over you anymore. My ego can't claim that you deserve to pay me money and be in my programs. My ego can't claim that I know better than you, because I hardly know anything. My ego can't claim anything. It can't claim that I'm right and you're wrong, because I've admitted that I'm always going to give other people understanding. And so what I want you to understand here is just that if you choose to, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, basically, right? If you take my stuff and logically think, yeah, I also agree with this, then all you got to do to act on it is make this commitment to incinerate your ego by being totally transparent with your own life, and then by just constantly making others feel understood. And now I told you I was going to put a little skin in the game, so here's the experiment I'm running today. I have picked out a new computer that I'm going to buy. I currently have a 2015 MacBook Pro. It's fine, it's a good computer, but I'm constantly running out of memory. On all my videos today, I ran out of memory. It can't play any of the games I like. It works really hard just to live stream this podcast, and this is just me talking. It couldn't live stream sharing a screen well, it would lag, all this stuff. So I need a better computer. Thing is, right, I'm still at the growth point of my business, transparency, where my coaching business isn't earning. Our Etsy shop earns, right? But my coaching business is not earning money because I invest more in my lighting that's over here and in my microphone and in my website and everything than I actually make, because I'm doing everything free right now. And so I've got to be able to look at my wife in the eye, who holds the paychecks and the pay stubs right now, and say, babe, it's worth buying a $1,400 computer instead of a $500 computer because I really will use it well. And so I'm about to walk into this conversation with my wife where I am looking to get out of her, all I want out of her is her approval and co-sign off as equal that it's okay for me to put down this payment plan and pay $80 a month for the next 18 months for an amazing gaming computer that can play all my games, stream all my stuff, do everything. Amazing business tool. And all I got to do is make that happen. But I can anticipate she'll be nervous about the money. I can anticipate there's opportunity for conflict here, right? What's wrong with the MacBook? Why can't you use the MacBook? Isn't it good enough? Like, why do you need such an expensive computer? How do you know it's the right one? Like, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of room for conflict. And so if I were using regular human mentality, I'd get nervous and I'd want to protect my ego and be right. And then she'd want to be right. And then we'd fight. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up there and I'm going to lay myself bare and say, here's the computer, here's what I plan, I really think it's a great decision. And then I'm not going to make a single additional case for my computer. Even when whether she's aggressive or defensive or she just says okay, I don't know. But the point is, all I'm going to do is make her feel understood. The only message I'm going to give to my wife is I'm going to say, I understand, right? If you're scared about spending money, I understand. Isn't it scary? Like all this stuff. And then I'm just going to keep repeating, hey, I just really think it's the right decision. It's a great computer. It's going to be beneficial. Like that's it. And so rather than going on some long soliloquy or like proving she's wrong and I'm right or trying to teach her a lesson or moral authority or criticizing her, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to have my 4-sentence stump speech. This is an amazing computer. It'll last longer and perform better. The payment plan is very efficient and it's like a business expense. And it's just going to bring wonderful quality of life. That's it, right? When you're talking to somebody else and trying to get them to see your perspective, if your speech is more than 15 seconds, then you need to just slow down. Just have your 15-second little 4-sentence mantra and just say it, right? So when it comes to my computer, this is a wonderful computer. It's going to last longer and perform better than other computers. I have a wonderful payment plan that's going to be very affordable and can go in as a business expense. And it's going to improve my happiness and quality of life so much. That's it. And then that's a 15-second statement or whatever, however long it took. However long I need to take to convince her, all I'm going to do is listen to her. I will never waver from that, right? I'm not going to defend myself from her attacks. She may just say, hey, it's great, right? Like, I'm not going to stress about that. And if someone projects negative emotion at me, I just put the positive right back out into the world. I just put that enthusiasm, right? It hasn't changed my initial statement. And then at an external level, what I'm doing is I'm thinking, well, I appreciate your concern and I appreciate all of, I understand the fears and concerns you have about this decision. I'm not comfortable giving up on this decision yet, Now, if it's buying something with family money, I'm not going to just do it without my wife's permission on a 4-figure purchase. But what I will do is say something like, going back to my generic mantra, I'll say, I'm so grateful for your feedback and I appreciate your concerns. I got you. Like, if you need to be heard anymore, I'll hear you out. Second thing is, rather than saying, no, I'm doing it anyway, because this is more of a mutual thing, I'll say, I'm not ready to give up on this yet. I'd love to keep talking and keep our dialogue open, right? I really do disagree, and I think this is an amazing thing. And it's okay for us to disagree and talk this through, because we all have valuable perspectives. And I'm just going to hammer that home. And the truth is it will hurt, right? The thing is, as you're incinerating your ego, it will hurt. There's a price to be paid for anything in life. And the price you got to pay to have this approach and have this gentle, kind approach with everyone in the world is you're going to constantly be in pain burning up your own ego. It's going to hurt. It's going to be like, imagine somebody else putting negative energy at you or being critical of you or just being worried. It's not about you, but they're not even upset at you. They're just concerned, right? They don't understand. Imagine the feeling of choosing not to fight back. It's terrifying. But you've got to move through that. And that's why so many of the great social justice leaders of our time have been pacifists, right? So when you think Rosa Parks or Gandhi or stuff like that, right, you think pacifists because they have conquered their ego in a way that they're so committed that they're not fighting back from an ego perspective. So guys, I hope that inspired you today. I hope it empowered you. I hope it made you want to go out and incinerate your own ego. It's just an option you have. It's something you can do. It's really wonderful, really exciting, really refreshing. And I hope you go do it. But either way, just remember, right? Social justice leaders, people who are great with people have a lot to teach us. What they teach us is just make people feel heard. I'm going to go experiment it. I'll report back to you if I end up getting my great computer. I'm pretty committed to it. I think I'll make it happen. But I'll report back to you on the podcast and tell you how it went, how my live experiment with my own principles went. It'll be so fun. I'm sure I'll suffer injuries to my ego. I'm sure I'll be stressed. But I'm sure that I can do it and make it work and make my wife feel understood and make this purchase and make what I want happen while keeping others happy if I stick to the formula. Guys, have a great day. Go out there and just rock it, crush it, do amazing things. There's so much love in the world. Just don't buy all society's messages of negativity. 99% of people are out there looking sideways and creating negativity. And if you want to be part of that, you can, but it won't go away until you choose to change. So if you want to change, if you want to be a little bit more calm, a little bit happier, a little bit better, just feel free to follow along. Follow me here. Follow my YouTube channel, Living Life with Woody Greeny. Sign up for my Mental Health 101 program, whatever works for you. And I'm so thankful that you're here listening. Care about you guys. Have a great day. Until next time, signing off. All right. Pretty good episode, guys. That was awesome. Go ahead and end the video recording here. Where's my button? All right. See you later.